The Rap Roundtable is officially live on a Monday night. Y'all know what we do. Y'all know how we coming. You know what I'm saying? Rap talk each and every Monday.
You
Sometimes
dig?
on Tuesday if it's a holiday. But more often than not, the Rap Roundtable is live. And we try to lock in with y'all. We hope y'all had a great weekend. It's your boy Joff here alongside Cicida Rap Snob.
What up?
Alongside Dini the Balance.
Yo.
Mesita will be with us in a few minutes. But we are here.
Our sincere apologies, Anthony. That's our bad, bro. We didn't mean to leave you out like that, man. Like,
hey,
pardon.
On the other side of the street, man. I'm sorry, man.
Listen, lead them boys across the street alone. You know what I'm saying? They got their business going on, and you know what? They're trying to maintain as best as possible. Salute to them. We don't want no mixed messages going back. The Rap Roundtable got because niggas be carrying lies and shit. You know what I mean? Leave us out of that. Just lock in with your boys now. You know what I'm saying?
We chilling,
Leave us out of that. We in a whole different stratosphere now. You know what I mean?
But, happy to be here.
Fellas, how was y'all weekend? You know what I mean? Cicida Raps now got some things to say, but Dini
talk about it.
Said he want to get some sports takes off before we lock in. So, like, how you feeling about the New York sports scene, Dini? You got the Yankee on too,
bruh. Like
you don't even watch baseball.
I don't, but you know, I've been in more games this year than most. Shout out to them niggas, man. I really wish the Mets had got there though. That would have been something amazing for the city. Shout out to the Liberty, the ladies pulled it off. You know what I'm saying? Even though Stewart and Ionescu didn't have the best games, they still worked hard.
Even though Sabrina Ionescu choked one for 19 in a winner take all situation.
I was trying to be generous. I was trying to be generous.
6 for 24. That might have been the worst performance in the elimination game in history.
Kobe had like 20 boards though. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? But like I loved it, man. The parade in the city on Thursday. The city needed this, man. Shout out to the Dodgers. Played a hell of a game. Like I actually sat down and watched the game. I usually don't even watch the shit on TV. I go to the game to watch the shit. That's how I like to enjoy a baseball game. But I mean, like so close. And John, I know you got your ties. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have you working extra hard. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, the schedule came out today. You know what I mean? Game 4 and game... Oh, put it this way. Game 4 and game 5 is going to be hectic because the Yankees got... if it gets to a game 5, the Yankees and the Nets play on the same night, so it's double duty for me. Yeah.
Sheesh. The hardest working man in show business, y'all.
I'm trying, you know what I mean? I'm trying out here.
I've got a lot of plates spinning right now, man.
Yeah.
And they all hitting.
They all hitting. The pieces just hitting. Shout out to you, God.
You know what I mean?
I love it, man. I love to see my niggas shine.
Word, man.
So, Cicida Rap Snob, you said you had some cook up for us to start this off.
I mean, I just got to give out some flowers, man. Number one, the legendary Tribe Called Quest. You know what I mean? In the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, again, you know, we've spoken about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and how we feel about it, and any one of these like accolades, these white American accolades, but you know, we gotta celebrate when we can. You know what I mean? And the fact that the Tribe Called Quest has been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's just a beautiful thing to watch. One of the most creative, influential iconic groups to ever touch this hip hop thing. You know what I mean? Their lineage stretches from their movement, Native Tongues movement, you know what I mean, all the way through what they did with Mobb Deep and Nas, all the way through that underground raucous era that I hold so dear. You know, the Most Defs and Qualies and Commons, they were all direct lineages from them. And all the way to you got Pharrell, who was influenced heavily by Tribe. You got we all know the Kanye influence. You know what I mean? The influence that was had on Kanye. He speaks of them a lot. He's worked with Q-Tip. You know what I mean? You heard it in his music. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing to watch. There's no other group right now other than maybe Wu-Tang. I would love to see Wu-Tang get that respect too sometime soon. But like, shouts to the Tribe Called Quest, Queens, New York. You know what I mean? Shouts to them. Queens have to get they have to get
Queens get the money.
They have to get a W somewhere. You know what I mean? The Mets let us down. The Mets let us down.
We wanted it. We wanted it. We wanted to see it,
man. Like, but we talked about it. You know, was it the last live or 2 lives ago? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we was trying not to get too excited because, you know what I mean, they have a tendency to let us down. You know what I mean? But,
that's a fact.
But look, like,
it wasn't playing no slouches though.
No, that's true. You know what I mean? And shouts to LA. You know, I love LA. But it wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't like the Mets were like a heavy favorite coming into this season and going into the playoffs. So the fact that they made it this far was beautiful. You know what I mean? So shouts to them. I ain't trying to like stomp on them and disrespect them or anything, but like, yeah, man. But again, shouts to Tribe Called Quest. Also, a couple of 25-year anniversaries that I just want to give flowers to. One, Pharaoh Monch, Internal Affairs, classic material. MF Doom, Operation Doomsday 2, underground icons. You know what I mean? Especially Doom. You know what I mean? Doom today. You know what's crazy? Like I've been seeing how Gladiator 2 is I think it's in the theaters or coming to theaters soon. I'm not even sure, but they're packaging the you know the big tub of popcorn with the Gladiator mask, and mad people is like, yo, that's the Doom mask. What the fuck? What's going on? And they now they're finding out. It was like, nah, you know, Doom used the Gladiator mask, and it was like, nah, that's the Doom mask. What y'all talking about? It's crazy. Shouts to Doom. History.
It's okay.
I mean, but it just goes to show that like Doom really is an icon. Like he was the one that made that mask iconic, not the movie. So you know what I mean? Shouts to them. There was a lot of music that came out Friday too, man. We're gonna talk
I would just
about
like to get some love off to the tribe before I forget, because you set the table low. I don't want you to move too far away from the tribe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Because the thing is, you gave them their flowers, but I want to give them even more flowers. I feel like the more we listen to niggas tell their stories, I think we probably need to start putting the tribe on even more gas. Like they might be the most important rap collective ever. When you start thinking about all of the quote children that were birthed from the tribe, and even if they're not directly tribe descended, they are Q-tip descendants. Therefore, they are of the tribe.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? To me, they should have been in the Hall of Fame already. They're the most important rap group of all time. You could say that Outkast is the greatest rap group, and I won't argue with you, Masito pulling in. I won't argue with you, but I think as time goes along, we give a lot of love to Wu-Tang, and we love Wu. Let's be clear. But I think Tribe Called Quest is the most important rap group in hip-hop history, and they need to be treated as such as we continue to make more history with the genre. We have to shine that light on Tribe. A lot of shit don't happen without them niggas.
As far as influence, as far as the lineage, you know what I mean? That
a lot of shit traced back to them.
You know what I mean? That tree with all the different branches, you know what I mean, stretching out from them paws. Yeah, but even you know what I mean. We could even say like, you know, like a collective like TDE. There's you can hear a lot of, you know what I mean. At least definitely Ab Soul and Kendrick. There's a lot of that tribe kind of native tongues kind of energy in that. You know what I mean. The jazz element of everything. You know what I mean. Like, yeah, man. Tribe just so important, man.
You know what I mean? But as you said a lot of music came up this week. Then we was gonna get into you were saying that before I jumped in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're going to get into some of it, but I just want to give a quick shout out to Rome again, friend of the table. We just had him at the table. He dropped a heat rock with Conductor Williams, man. Ooh. Get Away. I had that shit on repeat all day Friday and over the weekend. That's a heat rock right there, man. He just dropped a crazy project with Derringer. He's right back in the lab dropping more heat with Conductor Williams. We're going to need a Rome Times Conductor project right on top of that. You know
necessary.
Rome working like
overtime, bro.
Double album soon. We might need a double album.
Yo, that's crazy. What else was I spinning? I gave a spin to the Ransom Stove God joint, which was I'm gonna say it was cool. You know what I mean? Stove God cooked. You know, Ransom always cooks. I was surprised that Nick Craven actually threw some drums on the beat. That was a shock to me.
Shout out to Nick Craven.
Absol dropped the joint, had me wanting to crip walk out in the street, man. Like that shit had a crazy bounce to it.
I know Dean was going crazy over that.
Exceptional weekend, bro.
Yo, and real quick, also, this is a crazy collab. Nas, Cam, and Ghostface all in the track together. Called "Survive the Night." It was on the Warriors soundtrack. It's a cool joint. It's definitely got that like that Broadway sort of musical type feeling with the instrumental and everything. It's Shinsia is that how you pronounce it? Shinsia?
Shinsia, I think.
Shinsei, I thought it was. I mean, whatever it is, right?
Most times I see her, I'm not reading any captions.
That's a fact.
Talk about it.
But you know what I mean? I think
Nas, Cameron, Ghostface, and Shinsia.
It's mainly her track. You know what I mean? She's singing on it.
Nice.
And Nas, Cam, and Ghostface come in for verses each. And I think Busta Rhymes is on it too. I forgot Busta Rhymes. It would have been better
thrown together track. I'm not even gonna lie.
I'm just saying it would have been better if it were not connected to this particular project, because it feels very Broadway-ish. You know what I mean? Very like you know what I mean? Very musical-ish. And that's not really my bag. You know what I mean? But you know, my boy Nas, he came through. His verse was crazy.
Basketball season.
You know what I mean?
Noir Rhapsody dropped as well.
Yeah, Shay Noir Rhapsody just dropped today, man. Like, shouts to Shay. Yo, Buffalo is busy right now, man.
We add that right now.
Buffalo is real busy right now.
Right on time for the season. The weather turning, the jackets and hoodies is coming out. Shouts
to Rap. I gave it a spin. She blacked on that, man.
Oh yeah, Rap on her back. And then I saw a gentleman pull in earlier, or a person. I don't want to assume it's a male or a female. Fallen Super saying you guys been getting cooked on Twitter over your Luda comments. And I just want to make this clear again. Like, I think I said it a couple weeks ago, and we'll say it again. When it comes to what we do as an internet property, when we get cooked, we really don't care. You know what I mean? They're gonna love us sometimes when we say some things. They're gonna kill us sometimes when we say some things. Once you decide to make yourself an internet property, you are at the behest of the angry mob. And depending on what you say, like Deanie said, it could be free smoke or it could be nothing but flowers. In this case, it's free smoke. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, are we backing off of what we said? No.
I'm not. No. I'm taking no type of opinions, bro.
In fact,
my ears work. My ears work, bro.
The double down will be coming before this episode is out. You know what I'm saying? Imagine being scared of Twitter. They could come see about us.
Holla.
But anyway, Kendrick Lamar gets the spread on the Harpers Bazaar. It's a magazine spread. That's what it's called.
Editorial.
Not copy. A spread. Oh my god.
Sheesh.
Hey, no tech for that one. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Some of the comments came out, and I'm not sure about this interview, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. But before we get into it, make sure you hit the like button, run those comments up, hit the subscribe option. We need about 350 likes on each and every video. You see the ticker at the bottom of the screen there. Make sure you run those likes up. If you haven't by now, hit the subscribe option. We are about, I think, 15 away from 18.7. So we lock in with that. Get us there by the end of this live stream. Anthony Barrett, I'm not getting muted. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't say anything crazy. But anyway, Kenny gets the look he deserves. You know, everyone's pushing this whole narrative about what Drake did for him and all this and that. the Drake pictures, that is. But the reality is, what made this battle popping was the fact that these were two mega stars, crossover hip hop stars, clashing on wax. So of course, to the victor goes the spoils. And with that being said, you get a more artsy look from Kendrick, because Drake don't do that type of shit. This is definitely more Kenny's bag. But some of the comments came out. It's a bit of a head scratcher. So we're gonna have to go to PG Langston to give us an understanding of what the fuck this interview was even about.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it a whole buck.
Okay.
This is the greatest interview I've ever seen, man.
Oh.
I'm playing. I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
Whoa.
I was prepared to get very defensive.
Slow it down. Chill out.
I did get sent. Live up to my brand real quick. But I'm playing. I'm gonna keep it a whole buck. I don't love this move. Since the beef, this is probably the first move that I'm looking at since the battle. It's a little bit of a head scratcher. I'm not entirely sure why he went with this particular publication for this interview. you know what I mean? There's so many other publications could have been, or any hip hop platform. I just don't like in general that, and I don't want to sound like 2T's. I don't want to, you know what I mean, take his bars or whatever. But I do think he has a point when he goes on Twitter and he you know, gripes about how hip hop media platforms seem to be getting the cold shoulder and ignored these days. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like you have these big megastars that are going to every other platform other than a hip hop media platform. And I think that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? As somebody that looks at Kendrick, like, yo, you really like the torchbearer for the modern era of like that pure hip hop. You know what I mean? The cloth worthy shit. I wish he would have gone with a platform that was a little bit closer to the culture, to hip hop itself. You know what I mean? That being said, you know what I mean? He was interviewed by SZA. It was, you know what I mean? It was a fun read, I guess. It was a fun interview to, I guess, watch them like kind of have their banter and go back and forth. But it wasn't nothing in depth. You know what I mean? SZA's not like. She's not one to, you know what I mean? She's not a professional journalist. She's not going to give the most in-depth interviews. But I thought that some of the conversation was kind of interesting. Definitely two things that came out of that interview have some people in a tizzy over on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One, the feminine energy comment. And I think, so basically the gist of what he said was that in order to like achieve what he achieves with his artistry and his music, he has to kind of like tap into, you know, a more feminine energy. You know what I mean? But the problem with it is that like people took the quote and it wasn't necessarily out of context, but it was out of context in the sense that SZA was the one that framed the question in that way. So when he answered in SZA's, you know, the framing SZA had already set with the question. So, but you know what I mean? What I take away from that comment is basically him just saying that like he needs to tap into like his more vulnerable side and like let certain walls down in order to be able to dig deep. Pause if applicable.
But with this conversation, that sounds crazy. Within a conversation, bro, that's heinous.
In order to be able to reach certain emotions, maybe is that safer? In order to really expand his artistry, and you know, and as being a Kendrick fan, that's what I appreciate out of him. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't expect anything else out of him. The other thing that people seem to be kind of ticked off about and peeved about is his whole sort of moral grandstanding vibe that he has when SZA asked him like, what does not like us mean to him? Mm-hmm. And he went into this you know, this thing about him, you know, him saying that when I say not like us, I mean not like a man like me who has morals, who has values, who doesn't pander, who stands on his square and all that kind of stuff. And people seem to be like really ticked off. And I'm like, bro, I don't understand people sometimes because it's like all he's basically saying is that he's not with the clout chasing type of shit. You know what I mean? He has his set of values. He has his set of morals. There's certain things that he just won't do for the sake of fame and for the sake of popularity and numbers. Isn't that what we want out of our artists? That should be what we want. And I feel like that's what people always say that they want out of our artists, to stop the clout chasing and stop being so sensationalistic in the public eye and be more authentic. You know what I mean? And that's what I feel Kendrick is saying here, and I don't see what people are so upset about.
Sincere, you didn't tell myself, Deanie, or Mace about your graduation, bro.
My what?
Your graduation.
My graduation?
Yeah, because you clearly graduated from Bill Bondsman University, because it's a lot. You didn't tell us so we could celebrate with you, because this is the most veiled.
Loud.
This is word cool. Loud, right? honors, nigga.
Top of the class.
What's going on?
Shit.
Can we get to? I'm gonna go over to the embassy. I need some.
Yes, please.
I'm gonna go over to the embassy.
Shine some light, Mace.
People just be mad that, like, you know, people keep a certain sense of authenticity, and I feel like the only fake people get mad at when people are trying to be authentic.
No,
you know what I
mean?
Come on, man.
In the embassy, Macito, can we get some balance at this table, please?
That's absolutely not it. The problem is that it sounds like absolute like bullshit. If we want to be honest here, it sounds like, you know, something that some nigga just made up after the fact. Kendrick is an artist that's very good at articulating exactly what he means in a song. Not like us. I didn't get none of those vibes of that interview that he was talking about. Listen, what's going on here is that,
myself.
You know, Kendrick Lamar, what the coach is feeling, you know what I mean? You know, Grammy, you know, 10, 15-time Grammy nominated, you know. He got with Harpers Bazaar. You know, why did he do it? Sin, everybody is clear. It's just a safe space for him, right? Nobody reads Harper's Bazaar. I don't even know what's in there, period. Is it a fashion magazine or is it a women's magazine? I don't even know what's in Harper's Bazaar. He's being interviewed by a label mate, somebody who, you know, he's helped launch their career, give some of their biggest hits. It's a completely safe interview, right? He's not supposed to be challenged here. He's not supposed to, you know, have any sort of these are layup questions, right? You could literally see in the interview, if you've read the interview, SZA cheering him on during the interview, talking about you're so teachable. Why this man in the interview gives us this high artsy, like, you know, I believe I talk to God when I run and my shins hurt and I have to keep running for an hour. Like, Sin, like, this is not an interview that means anything. It's you were right in the beginning.
I said
you were
that
absolutely right in the beginning where you said this is like unnecessary. Like, why is he doing this? Like, this is, I don't want to say this is the wrong move because I don't think this really means anything in the sense of his, you know, his rollout, his, you know, the album or anything. It's not a problem, but it's just useless, right? It's definitely showing that Kendrick's fans are not the only one who kind of buys into that, like, you know, mysterious, like, I mean 1,500 things when I'm rapping. Like, I read this and I said, you know what, Kendrick Lamar is kind of into his own bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, but I say this because you know what kind of vibe it gave me? I'm not going to completely shit on him. I'll get back to it, but I'm not going to completely you know, it kind of gave me the vibes of like those old, like 80s, 90s, you know, musicians, right? The air of, you know, mystery about them, you know. And you know, they used to do interviews with Rolling Stone and you didn't know what the fuck they were talking about the whole time. But it was like part of, like, you know, the shtick, the allure. The allure, the whole thing. So I feel like Kendrick is kind of giving us that within this interview. You know what I mean? If you're reading it, it sounds like this is not the type of guy I want to go chill with. Like, I would never want to talk to this guy. I would never want to hang out with this guy. It's like, it's a very pretentious, just like, what do we even fucking talk about here interview? You know what I mean? I get it. But
I would love to sit down with him.
I feel like you would get a better interview than this.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact.
The conversation will be a little more intriguing. You know what
I mean? Maybe you would ask about a rap bar or something.
It's like,
in the interview. You know?
Sheesh, man.
Look at this goofball right here. It's 4 New York niggas. We start the pod with Sin waxing poetic about Kendrick, and the minute something negative gets said, niggas pull the Regent card. Shut the fuck up, ass one. Add 2 S's to your name, nigga. Ass. The fuck out of here, man.
We provide balance here. You know what I mean? Listen, and so when ultimately, you know, the interview itself is pretty useless. It definitely lets me know that Kendrick buys into the hype. But it's a bunch of bullshit in this interview, bro. Like, who cares about what anything he's talking about?
Bullshit?
I
read the interview. I had to read it twice because I'm like, hold up, did I miss something? Like, you know what I mean? It sounds like a person who, you know what I mean? You're talking to the person and they're very into what their beliefs are.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, super into it, but it kind of just sounds like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like, can we have a normal conversation here? You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's the questions involved. I don't know, but it wasn't a good interview, bro.
It's Harpers Bazaar, bro.
What do they specialize in? What does Harpers Bazaar specialize in?
Kendrick and SZA, like,
because I'm frying.
But why is it's Kendrick and SZA? Harpers Bazaar interviews.
What do you expect the Kendrick and SZA conversation to be like? Other than
a little more in depth than that. You know what I'm saying?
I don't want to Kendrick. That was the first mistake. Hey, let's get SZA to interview Kendrick Lamar. That was the first mistake. You know what I mean? Damn. My boy 2 T's is rolling in his grave right now. Like, what's going on?
Yo, like,
still no balance.
How you put 2 T's in the grave, bro?
That's heavy. That's heavy.
Chill. Because right now it's PG, it's OVO. We ain't getting nowhere.
I mean,
help me out here, bro.
Some balance,
I hear. Because I'm hating. Like, all right, so I understand the whole tapping into like your whole. First of all, bro, calling it like my feminine, I just don't like that, bro. Like, it just don't feel good to me. Like, I feel like when Jay made song "Cry," he didn't say I'm gonna tap into my feminine to make this. Nah, it just came from a different place. Like, my nigga, like, you're supposed to have the mixed emotions, but it don't gotta be feminine. I just didn't like the way when I read the thing, I just like, nigga, what? You feel feminine? I didn't, and then with the funny outfits and all that, I was like, yo, maybe we going somewhere with this. Kendrick is a weird dressing nigga. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's in a different environment with shit.
No balance at this table.
Like, listen, bro. When the whole world's been tooting your horn to a certain level, you might kind of start to believe all this shit. Like, he's kind of like we put him in a realm where he's like, it's like some guru where he transcends above everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's a normal man, like the way everybody else is a normal man. He feels shit, he understands shit, he hears shit. It's like the way that they make this nigga like Aladdin's genie, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just come out the lamp and he's blue. You know what I'm saying? He just granting wishes. Like, he's a normal man. He's a human being, bro. Like, so the whole I just don't get the whole. Do you feel feminine, my nigga? I never feel that way, bro. I feel like me. I feel like.
He never said he feels feminine. They asked him.
You add to it,
bro.
Do you have a feminine? I don't have a feminine side.
Real Jamaican right now.
Yo, I'm just saying, bro. Like, I understand vulnerability. I wouldn't say on vulnerability and say my feminine side, but nigga, that's just a man being vulnerable. I don't know what that means. I don't, bro.
I also want to add that, like, it's not like this is a new term. Like, I've been hearing about men being asked to tap into their feminine side since I was a kid.
From who?
This is
from ladies.
From women.
Not from niggas. Niggas, Sin, tap into your feminine side right now with me, Sin. We don't, come on, my nigga. We never did that.
But this is why I'm saying it was SZA that framed it that way.
This is not a new thing, by the way. I want to double down on what Sin said. This is not new. This is not getting in touch with your feminine side. I've been hearing it since I was a kid. Like,
I've heard women say that, bro. I've never heard a man say that though. You know what I'm saying?
A woman interviewing a guy.
But then you should have. I don't have that. I don't deal with those issues. You know what I'm saying? I'm a man, sis. I deal with shit men have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? I deal with men shit. I just didn't understand what that meant, bro. I don't.
Now I'm gonna have to play the
card. My father.
I played this card in about a month and a half. Dini the misogynist is back, y'all.
Yo, I'm not.
We back on the misogyny shit.
I'm not.
Here we go.
You know what I
mean? I'm here.
We can't even let Sid cook because you got to get your misogynistic take.
Yo,
you know what I mean?
I don't understand it. I don't ever have to tap into my feminine side. I've never thought about a feminine side. I just don't deal with them things, brethren.
Before I pass the ball back to Sin, because I got takes that got nothing to do with this shit, apparently. When you have a girlfriend and you in the room with her and she's asking you how the fuck she looks and you think a few times before you answer that question, you're getting in touch with your feminine side. Because if you say the wrong thing,
that's not getting in touch with your smart side.
Because you're thinking
smart side.
You're thinking how she thinks in that moment. She might have a little insecurities about her fit, and you could say, "Yeah, you look crazy," or you could verbalize it in a way that while it gets her to change her fit, she don't hate herself. That's you getting in touch with your feminine side, seeing it from a female's perspective and understanding how that might impact her as a man. That's all it is, Dini.
Copy.
That's all, bro. Like you here got the lava, you got the cable playing in the background. Yeah. Like
slow down. Got the cable in the back. You know what it is. I'm sorry. Nah. No, I'm not even going there. I'm going there. Chill. Keep going.
Go ahead, sir. As you were.
Nah, I said what I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
My issue is this. I don't give a fuck about the feminine side. It didn't even really move me that crazy. But the way to put it this way, if you don't read the article, you just see the quote, because that's how the internet works.
Right.
It fucks you up like, whoa. Like you just finished beating up Drake. Why are we talking about this? That's the recoil reaction. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
But my issue was, and Mace touched on it a little bit, was the fact that coming off something that was great for hip hop, songs charting, people talking. Why are you on Harpers Bazaar? 2T's got a whole podcast through Hip Hop DX, and they trying to make it look real nice and glossy. They trying to make it look as important as possible. It's almost like he's moved on from the rap radar part. I guess that's dead. You know what I'm saying? And they got this new thing over here. You got DJ Head over there. Why are you not sitting down with a top tier hip hop platform? Because as far as hip hop scribes go, it ain't what it used to be. There's no more. It ain't like before where you had a double XL in a source and you get that cover and it's a big fucking deal. We know the podcast in a lot of ways has replaced the magazine for a lot of these things. So it's like, why are you not over there with 2T's? Why are you not over there with Joe Budden? Maybe there's another show I'm forgetting right now.
The Rap Roundtable.
Drink Champs.
Pull up to us, nigga. Like,
nah, I couldn't see him on Drink Champs because that's usually legacy artists. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
But I mean, DJ Head is his man. It's like
big names.
Like, go to a rap platform because it's like, and I hate
Drink
to
Champs
because it's like kind of a hypocritical take. A part of me wants the rapper to go to Harper's Bazaar because it brings more eyeballs to rap. Yeah. So I see the vision, right? But at the same time, you can still do that after you go and give a rap platform that look. Shit, you don't even have to go to them. You're Kendrick Lamar. That platform will come to you. Or fuck it, do a special TDE sit down. Because Punch a whole personality out here. We know that.
Yeah.
Let Punch put some shit together.
Shout out to Punch.
Set the microphones up, or even one of the underground West Coast pods out there. There's quite a few. Schoolboy's been on a few of them. Give hip hop the look first before you venture off. You know what I'm saying? Because while you have rapped, we haven't truly heard from Kenny. You know what I'm saying? We've heard the bars and we respect the energy, but I would love to hear Kenny's thought process doing this thing. Like, what the fuck was going on when you heard First Person Shooter? Is it true that they did ask you to get on that song and you said no? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh yeah, like Tango Faye mentioned Big Boy's Neighborhood. I don't think he's been on Big Boy's Neighborhood since he's had to be. And that's the biggest West Coast radio platform. That's like if he got the Breakfast Club over here, or Ebro in the morning over here, Big Boy's Neighborhood is literally that over there. You know what I'm saying? So you got these platforms. Let's get into some rap shit. Give the people what they want. So now I got to get into my devil's advocacy bag. Because it's like, all right, if you go to Harper's Bazaar first, and every time Sid and I get to arguing about Kenny, and I talk about To Pimp a Butterfly, I said that shit's for white people. Harper's Bazaar was a magazine for white women. So it's like, here we go again. You feeding the narrative that you feed these white people.
This is true.
I don't know, because I went and looked.
To Pimp a Harper's Bazaar, bro.
There seems to have been a lot of covers with black women and women of color. So I'll be honest. I'm not familiar with Harper's Bazaar. The first thing I did was Google them and see what they're about. It is a women's magazine. I did look at a lot of covers. There was a lot of black women on the covers. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know who exactly their demographic and their audience is. You know what I mean? I know the writer was black. Her name was Caitlin. I saw the name. I was like, oh, no. But then I looked her up. I was like, oh, okay, good. She black.
And I want to be clear. I don't mind him doing these platforms. My main argument is, can rap get the look first? That's it. Go to the rap platform. Give us that. Let the people really hear from you. Because as hip-hop fans, we love getting into the mind of a rapper. You know what I'm saying? We want to hear like what you was going through. Like when Hov was going on Angie in the middle of the shit with Nas, we love that shit.
Yeah.
More recently, Pusha T right after the Drake shit was on Budden podcast for like 2 hours. We got to hear the whole thing play out, bro. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, but there was a part in the interview that I think is kind of relevant here, and it's that he he feels like he has to create a separation between him as a person, a man, and him as the artist. You know what I mean? That he creates this duality between himself on stage and himself in his everyday life. Everybody does it. All artists do that, but I think with him is like a deeper divide. Going by that, I don't know if he really wants to get into all of those questions because he
Why
probably.
Not,
but now you see how I get annoyed, but you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Why not?
Don't do any interview then. If
why
you
not?
Ask me.
Because he alluded to like having moments and then just separating himself, or like those moments pass and then he's just kind of like done with it. So I think there's a little bit of element of that. Like he wants to let that moment live in infamy as that moment, but then not really revisit it.
You can't do that, bro, because it's too big. This wasn't some regular season game on a Tuesday night. This was the rap Super Bowl. You can't just run away from it now.
Listen,
that's corny to me. Like, let's talk about everything but the thing. Like, that's to me, that's pretentious, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
That's that pedestal shit.
When you read in the interview, like it reads like not like a person you would ever talk to in a conversation reads. You know what I mean? People are saying me and Dini are dumb because we didn't like the interview. Bro, that's not it. Like that is if this
that's the issue right there.
Kendrick Lamar,
that's the issue right there, because you don't fuck with you dumb. You know what I'm saying? We don't do that with no other artists, bro. Maybe Esco back in the days. You know what I'm saying? If you wasn't immediately jumping on the Esco vibe, they would say like you just ain't there. You get what I'm saying? But I'm like, sometimes this nigga just ain't kicking that knowledge he fucking with. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just that. It might not be a specific Kendrick. We all know a nigga like that. The extra like Umba Kumbaya type nigga. You get what I'm saying? We all know a nigga like that. Who just makes everything extra.
I actually believe that Kenny kicking knowledge. I think Kenny does a better job of kicking knowledge than any other rapper because he makes it digestible knowledge. Pause.
While rapping, but in conversation. I'm sure that shit is fucking annoying. Like,
I think it's less about like knowledge and more about just like philosophies. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Like, I relate to it. I like when I'm not talking with y'all motherfuckers. Like, I spend my time just like thinking about the most far out, like next level, you know, out in the universe, next dimension type of shit. Like. Yeah. That's not shit that I talk to y'all about, but like that's where my mind goes most of the time. You know what I mean? And so like I get it. I get wanting to have conversations that are sort of more philosophical, more esoteric, not necessarily talking about like
I'm with the culture feeling, so you got to talk to the culture, bro.
Nah, I feel that too.
Especially if you're standing on that. You play that
he's the soul brother.
You played the culture card against Aubrey, right? So now you got to immerse.
Yeah. Immerse. But I'll be honest. In and of itself, I don't mind his explanation to what he meant by not like us. But when it was framed in the battle as a cultural thing, and you're making it more of a
it wasn't framed.
Morality.
I'm what the coach is feeling. Those are his bars.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So like everybody took it as like, you know, Aubrey is the visitor and we are the real deal. Yeah, that's us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now for him to kind of like switch it and frame it into like, you know what I mean, like morality and values and stuff like that. Like I get maybe that's where he was in the moment when he was answering the question, but like that was not the context of what was said in the battle. So
nah. And let's be clear. This is what I want to like this another person. Channing Rudnicki. Listen to me. We covered this whole battle from end to end accurately, fairly. So if we have a conversation where you get in your feelings because we're not saying nice things about your favorite rapper, bro, cry more. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Because again, we've been called Drake dick riders, Kendrick dick riders, Cole dick riders. We've been accused of playing every side. And the issue is if you can't handle nuanced conversation where we're not just being fanboys of one act, get the fuck out of here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just well mad. I told y'all, I'm not taking no disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Especially if we sitting down, we chopping it up, and we just have a difference of opinions like adults. lock in with the difference of opinions. That's it. Add to the conversation. Don't fucking critique and judge the combo if you're not adding to it. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
But Kenny's a unique artist, and I think Sinner said that he's kind of like in that 3K, 3 stacks range, where it's like he's gonna do things that's off the path.
Right.
And I think that this Harper's Bazaar interview is definitely that. I just feel like, to play the angry mob card is like when you have galvanized the angry mob the way he expertly has, you got to throw him a piece of something. Give us a little crumb. You know what I mean? A little 15-minute interview somewhere. Nah.
Yeah, this move is not. It's not on the same path as the trajectory that we've been getting from him. You know what I mean? Like the whole battle, the Super Bowl announcement, the snippet in front of the Not Like Us video. There was a couple other moments I feel like this just feels so left from that. And again, I don't mind left if that's sort of like the way you're leaning. He hasn't been leaning in this direction this whole time. And so for this to come out of nowhere, it threw me off a little bit.
And it's weird because you don't want to nitpick every rapper because every rapper trying to get their bag, but like little weird shit, like what was it, the Chanel shit that he did? You know what I'm saying? The Chanel commercial, like little shit like that, where it's like everything is the coach and everything is, but when it's time to pop out, sometimes you pop out and you go over there. You get what I'm saying? Like shout out to Chanel, but we're not Chanel. You get what I'm saying?
And I think a part of it is that Kendrick normally often expertly navigates this type of shit, right? The media, the rollouts, the presentation. You know what I mean? This is usually like his lane. Him, his team, they on point when Kendrick is want to be shown in a specific type of way, they know how to do that. So back to what you saying in the opening, Sin, it is a little bit of a misstep in that sense where it's like some people are confused, some people are like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So I think that's a part of it as well. You know what I mean? That usually Kendrick, you know what I mean? He kind of makes more sense than this, or the moves he's doing makes more sense than this. But I will say this though, this is definitely a throwback to like, old school rollouts. You know what I mean? When you get your magazine articles, you get your big performance down the way, and people are building anticipation for the album. They've only heard a few seconds of the single and they hype. So I'll give him his props there. This feels like one of those like old 50 Cent, Lil Wayne rollouts where it was like, yo, this is going to be some fucking numbers done here.
Facts, Mason.
Byron Bullock says y'all were not fairly covering the battle and are extremely biased. This is a lie. I just want to I left this comment here because everyone who's in the chat, and I see the names and we all see the names, we know who's who in here. Y'all ever seen Byron? Byron is this Byron guy? Has anyone ever recognized Byron anywhere?
Byron new to this, not true to this. Plus, we done got way too many comments saying the complete opposite of that. There's been too many people that told us the coverage of the fucking shit was amazing.
Byron Bullock. Where did he come from?
It sounds like a Batman character. Byron Bullock.
Byron Bullock. Like, get the hell out of here, bro. Like, again, I'm not even gonna get too worked up because it's all lit. Yeah, y'all can watch the entire history of the rapper. We should probably make like a special playlist to cover the whole battle. When the Byron Bullocks of the world come to life, it's right there. You know what I mean?
Two B's.
There was literally 1 week where me and Jarv were together barking on Sin about Taylor Made, and later on in the week, Jarv and Sin were barking on me about Euphoria. Like, this happened, bro. Like,
what are you talking about? And the next thing, and this is a good comment. I am 90D. Y'all just said y'all don't care when y'all get flamed to the internet. Why do you think Kendrick cares about what you think is hypocritical? Which one of us said that? I don't do a podcast talking to our viewers about how we feel about a magazine article.
I expect y'all to care.
That's crazy.
I am 90D. We expect you to care and our viewers to care.
You know what I mean? Because we're hip hop fans, so we're gonna talk about it. These niggas are so strange. A lot of second place trophy energy from these new people, bro.
Yeah, a lot of hate. Ruby, what's up with the hate, Ruby?
You could tell who's allowed to sit at the lunch table and who wasn't back in the day, huh? Because some of these opinions, especially from Byron Bullock and that guy 90D.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's shaky. But moving on, like, because again, I get the sense. I could be wrong, but I'll put it on wax. I think Kenny will eventually do the rap interview. I don't know who's gonna get the look.
That's interesting.
Probably somebody from the West.
It might end up being Big Boy, or it might be one of them deals where it's not even someone that's even on the table. You know what I'm saying? But I think he'll give us the sit down that we want, and it'll be of course, if he's gonna address the situation in the bars. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Like, it's Kenny. One thing, Kenny liked being the boogeyman, and he liked making people nervous. And I think this is all part of a long distance play. You know what I'm saying? Because go ahead, son.
But to Mason's point, he definitely gets off on his own mystique. You know what I mean? So he might not want to get into it. He might just want to let it live as it is. You know what I mean? If he goes into it and dissects it too much, then
he kills the mystique.
He says he's what coaches feel it, and a lot of people in said culture want to hear from Kenny. So I feel like eventually he will speak about it. He might not get part himself overly in depth, but he'll give the people what they want to a certain degree. And I still don't. And back on Fig, we get I can see that. Michael Brown with a great point. Let me highlight that. That's the part I was thinking about. Back on Fig, because I know Schoolboy's done it a couple of times. Like, I think those platforms will make the most sense. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's gonna talk about it, and I think he's curated this personality to where, you know, it's gonna make sense in the way he views it, not how we view it, but how he sees it. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Baylor lingering in the chat. Baylor wants this to be an East Coast West Coast thing so bad. And it's like,
what up, gang?
Never gonna be that, Baylor. You know what I mean? You tagging niggas on Twitter and World Series shit with the Yankees and fucking Dodgers. You basically like a wrestler fantasy booking at this point, bro. It's not East Coast, West Coast, nothing. Yeah, we love Kenny. I mean, the only person that probably gets the most disdain at this table is Drake. Because believe it or not, more often than not, we like Cole more than we like Drake at the rap round table. You know what I mean? Just that Cole did some fuck shit. But we got to talk about the boy Aubrey, right? The tweet comes out. We go Mace, get comfortable. The tweet comes out. Young Thug basically saying that the game needs Drake, Metro, and Future to reconnect and get back to the money, get back to the music. You know what I mean? The Future retweeted it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean there's a sliver of hope that these guys can make amends and get back to doing what they do best? Let's talk about it, Mace.
It's more than a sliver of hope. It's pretty much a guarantee, y'all. This is absolutely gonna happen. One thing we everybody has taken a note of is that of all the people in the, you know, at this point 135 V1, of all the people, Future was the one that didn't really get no, you know what I mean? He didn't really get no tough bars. I think up in push-ups, he said, gave you your first number one, but that was a little bit innocuous, right? It was a couple people that could have been about. And on Family Matters, you know, it was, you know, me and Pulu ain't never had no problems like that, and then blamed it on Leland. You know, so it makes sense on a few levels. One thing,
Leland is crazy.
Our boy Leland.
Shout out to Metro.
You know what I mean? Shout out to Metro. We're gonna talk about you later too. Shouts to Leland, man. But one thing, Young Thug is definitely the type of figure that can make this happen. First of all, complete respect from everybody, from all sides. You know what I mean? Locked up currently, so people definitely want to, you know, he had the emotional card. Like, come on, y'all gonna, I'm not even here. Y'all gonna fuck up the money. There's that going. There is the fact that, listen, just because what Kendrick said could be true, right? Just because he does run to Atlanta and he does fuck with all the Atlanta artists, and it is a bunch of people who sound he made a shark. That doesn't mean that Atlanta niggas didn't fuck with him, right? That didn't mean that it wasn't a mutually beneficial relationship. You know what I mean? To get the biggest rapper in the game statistically to constantly come on your songs, do collab albums with you, get on, you know, the singles of Gunna and Amigos and Thug and Future and Lil Baby and 2 Chainz. You know what I mean? So I definitely think that this is, you know, the undercover way of Atlanta saying, like, you know what I mean? You've had your lashings, young man. You know what I'm saying? Because Drake, I do think Drake did something foul because something behind the scenes happened where Future decided, I'm taking Metro's side over Drake's side. You know what I mean? Besides just, you know, the history of it all. right? Because when Meek and Drake were having problems, it's not like they took Meek's side. Future was cool with me, with these people. You know, the whole Atlanta was cool with Meek. It's not like they took
Future,
that side.
Future took some swipes at Meek. I remember.
At Meek, right. Yeah. Right. He immediately got on what a time to be alive after the Meek beef. You know what I mean? So it's very telling that in this situation, that's not the case. To me, it signs something that Drake did behind the scenes that's undefendable, right? But back to the point at hand, I do think that this is a good sign moving forward. We look at the top 10 in Billboard. 2T's been posting it the last 3 weeks since Not Like Us, after months, finally fell out of the top 10. We got nobody. You know what I mean? People are trying to rep Shabuzi right now because we got no hip hop in the top 10. We need, we need the big artists. We need the people because Future just moved 100,000+ on 3 albums straight. Future's very viable on the mainstream level. Why not? Why shit on Drake? You know what I mean? Why say fuck Drake when really it doesn't seem like there haven't been any issues like that between them to this point. So I do think that Thug is what he's sober minded. You know what I mean? He's probably thinking when I get out, we got to run this money up. Mm-hmm. And what's the best way to reunite all the hit makers? You feel me?
And a lot of people feel like there's going to be a mistrial with that situation, so he might be out sooner than you think. But right there, Mace, before we give our takes, we have a couple of people who have dissenting opinions.
It's the word.
This gentleman here, the Trap Cash Show, I guess he has a podcast. Stop it, Mace. Future No Metro showed up to 21 birthday party, and it's a big deal in Atlanta.
Drake didn't show up either.
Hold on, Ariel Smoke says the same thing. So I want you to expound on that, good brother.
I mean, Drake wasn't there either. It seemed like nobody showed up to 21's birthday party. The big thing was, Metro and Drake are both going to be there. Hopefully the shooters don't shoot. Nobody showed up. So I understand Ariel. That's the homie right there. Shouts to the first homie. But this is like a Young Thug conversation. You know what I mean? 21 is like the little homie in this. 21 is like the dude who came around after all of these relationships were formed. So while there could be some sort of issue between them, you know what I mean? This is more of the pull that Young Thug has over everybody. The same person that we still don't see nobody on songs with Gunna to this day, no matter how many records he sell, right? Thug got that type of respect.
And here's the thing I want to jump in here before I pass it to Dini. Like this Trap Cast guy, people in here with like sideways agendas, you know what I mean? If motherfucking Young Thug, and I want you to listen carefully before you type Trap Cast, you know what I mean? Think, like, use your brain. If the tweet just came out Saturday, right? And niggas have been on the opposite end of the spectrum with their agreements. Why do you think that mentioning 21's party right after that shit matters? It's not how this works. You know what I mean? Y'all get so caught up on the internet. A lot of y'all don't understand. Y'all probably don't even live a real life. So y'all get caught up on this internet shit, not understanding how humans work. Whatever happened with Aubrey and Future, it didn't just happen a couple months ago. It's been in motion. The people that know have been talking about their fallout probably 2 years before it actually became a thing on wax, right? So if Thug throw a tweet out, it's going to take some time. But again, the retweet, because there have been a lot of other prominent niggas who've been mentioning this shit, and it's been no type of interaction. But for Thug, a person of prominence in that city, to put that out there, he has power and sway that would lead, even if they're not friends, it would lead to something. Future don't even do to it. Remember when he even said on the record, it costs $250K to even tweet, nigga. So if Future's getting on Twitter to retweet that, it carries weight. You know what I'm saying? That's all we saying. You can say whatever you want. You and your bum-ass podcast that nobody knows, you can say whatever you want over there. But the reality is we know how humans work. Huh? When the same stupid niggas were telling us we ain't know what we was talking about before this shit even popped off, if he listened to them, we wouldn't be here right now. You know what I'm saying? So you could just be the next stupid nigga who just not informed on the human level. Go take your cloudy shit, your corny podcast, and fuck out of here. Dini the Balance. Do you think that there's hope? Because I don't got time for nobody tonight. That's I just want you to know. I don't have time.
Go time.
You know what I'm saying? Really? Dini the Balance. Is there hope that Aubrey and Future can connect again?
Plenty of hope. Mace called it. I'm thinking like the two things. I think this is either over a lady or the fact that Drake was supposedly cutting in all them deals that was like getting percentages of like everybody money type shit. That was the thing. Remember that, Mace? That was the thing people were talking about. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, if you're thinking like, yo, this nigga comeback deals, taking percentage of my money, that shit'll make you feel some type of way. Maybe there's some shit like that, but maybe Drake was trying to rise from another. I can't speak on that, but I'm just saying, like, people are looking at like Drake runs to Atlanta, Atlanta runs to Drake type shit. I don't think it's that. I think it's like that's one of Drake's cities, isn't it? The Houston, Atlanta, Vegas shit. So obviously, when he comes through, big money spent in the city. It's kind of like All-Star Weekend in the city when he pop out. So I'm sure like people in the city make money. You see what happens when he gets on the records with the Atlanta heads. Everything goes all the way up, and I'm sure Thug's looking at this like, yo, like I'm in jail right now, sitting down, waiting, biding my time, waiting to get out of this shit. The two, say what you want, outside of Kendrick, they are the two hottest niggas. You know what I'm saying? In terms of sales, music, Cole's up there, kind of knocked himself a little bit. But when it comes to like making a tune, setting, getting everything lit, those are the two guys. You seen what a Time to Be Alive did. You see what Life is Good did. All the records they do together like are monumental hits. So I'm sure he's looking at like, if I get these two back on stage, like I'm already a G in my city, but I got the two like titans of this shit back together to make the type of shit we love. Like there were certain joints on the Pluto tape. I was like, damn, Drake would have sounded great on those. You know what I'm saying? If he was a part of those records, like they do something together that works. And if you have two people that collab like that and make great shit, that's a chemistry that's hard to find. Say what you want. Before all this, they were doing everything right, bro. Like everything they touched was gold. And I'm sure Thug is seeing that. Like if I could just put these niggas together and I'm on the stage, this could be a world tour. This could be a 50 city tour type shit. You get what I'm saying? Like he's not doing the best right now. I'm sure between paying for lawyers, taking care of all the outside shit you got to take care of. Like niggas, like it's still a human aspect to this shit. Like niggas, if you're not outside making the money, you're still generating your funds and all that, but you're spending a lot on lawyers. You think it's crazy till you see some lawyers charging like fucking 20 racks a day to fucking handle your case type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I think there's a lot of music to be made. I think Atlanta is ready to accept Drake back in the midst. Maybe Atlanta said, you know what, Kendrick, right? He kind of been eating off us or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I think now even Atlanta has said, you know what? That nigga's paid his due. He served his time. You know what I'm saying? It's been a rough summer for this nigga. Yo, come back home to Houston, Atlanta, Vegas, and let's get this shit right. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think it is. They're gonna get it right.
What do you think, Sin? Try to be fair.
Listen, it had to what Dini just said. I'm gonna pick up where he left off. It's been a rough summer for the boy. Very rough summer.
Heinous.
So look, for the sake of fairness, you know what I mean? And for Drake's sake, I hope he does link back up with Fuge and Thug and them, because the moves he's trying to make without them shit is not working out. He's going to Camila Cabello. He's going to I forgot who else. He crossed 2 borders to go into Mexico and switch languages, and that shit didn't hit. What the fuck? I can't tell.
God damn it, Sin.
Goddamn IG stories with duck faces, dude. Are you gonna make? You know what I mean?
With the did he have bubblies in his hair? Is that what I saw?
Bubbles, yeah.
He's cosplaying as Snoop.
Wild.
You know what I mean?
He's switching
up languages.
Penelope said, "Vato Aubrey, I'm dead."
No, he's making no waves with none of the tracks that he's put out. The stimulus package is no more. His aura is on Ozempic. You know what I mean? Spinning by the day.
Damn, Sam.
He needs to do something. And if it's linked back up with Atlanta, you know what I mean? If it's to go back to Atlanta to get another check balance, then hey, so be it.
2-3's upset.
For his own sake.
Stop the cap.
I hope do reach out with the olive
branch,
and for his own sake, I hope he takes it. But to be on the flip side of that, if I'm Drake and I know that Future fucking released the Kraken on me to come and call me a whole PDF in front of the whole world, I don't know if I go back over there. I don't know if I forgive it. But for his sake, get his shit back on track. You know what I mean? I hope he does take the olive branch.
Damn, so I asked you to be fair, bro.
That wasn't fair? Did I lie? Where did I lie?
It's a little heinous, son. It's a little heinous.
A little bit.
Little dastardly.
Ozempic is kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
Diabolical, bro.
All right, boom. Here's what I'll say. You know, I think it's just it's tough here. It's a tough situation. Selfishly, I'll speak for self. I would love it if Aubrey and Future and Metro reconnected. They make some songs that I really enjoy. You know what I'm saying? So even without Metro, Aubrey and Future, when they get together, it's cook up time. Granted, they was about to have another smash hit before the world did whatever with the pandemic. Because Life is Good was about to be the song of 2020. We remember. And it came out of left field. And it was a smash on day one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And quite frankly, if you go to any little spot, you go to a party, whatever you do, when the DJ decides to play that record, it still moves the people.
All the way up.
Old days, man.
The Too Sexy record, it was another slapper. Like, they got slappers. So it's like, you got it. From a selfish perspective, I want them to get back. I didn't even like the fact that they were falling out in the first place.
Facts.
You know what I mean? I wanted to see Kenny and Drake scrap. I didn't want it to be like, I didn't want Future to be collateral in this situation. gave us a great album, but we didn't want, the streets didn't want that. I could say, am I wrong in saying that? I mean, Humble Bragger said Too Sexy was garbage, but it was, the ladies would shake her ass to it.
I mean, bro, you got where you're at. You got Desires. Like, they got too much great music together, bro. Even Wait for You with Thames, like, it's too much.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying I was playing Too Sexy, but the women would shake her ass to it, and that's what it's all about. So it's like, selfishly, bro, I want them to get back together. I'm not from Atlanta. I can't get into Atlanta politics. But again, when it comes to understanding the mentality of people, Future don't do the Twitter thing. So for him to retweet that, when he could have easily shot homie a DM or a text or however he can connect, because if my man is on Twitter, that means he probably got a phone in there. So I'm sure Future could have connected with Thug if he wanted to. But the retweet in some form of fashion is an agreement that that is better that they are together than they are apart. So I think, I'd like to see it. Will it happen? I believe it will. I'll put it on wax. I'm not afraid of these people. It's gonna happen because it's good business. Well, you know what men's good fallouts? Money. You know what I'm saying? Streaming numbers, tours, Like, all of these things matter. So I want to see it. But it sucks because then it's like it's almost like death by 1,000 cuts because Drake is back in Atlanta. The Kendrick Lamar bar about Atlanta. You know what I mean? So it's like, but did Drake run to Atlanta? Did Atlanta run to Drake? That becomes a whole side quest and a whole side narrative. Right. We're not propagating it here at the Rap Roundtable. I want to make sure that we make that clear. But I'm just saying it becomes a talking point in this whole scenario. So from that perspective, I feel like Drake can't. I think Drake is in a tough spot. He's damned if he do. He's damned if he don't. But I'd rather him get back with the Atlanta niggas because one thing that Atlanta can do is make some fucking slaps. And the people that he's connected with in Atlanta, even though Metro's from St. Louis, but I digress, they know how to make slappers. Go link up with Quavo. Go get Takeoff. I mean, Offset. Rest in peace, Takeoff. Get these guys. Get the team back together who was making the bangers like 5-6 years ago. Fuck it, what's Travis Scott doing from Texas? Get together with the niggas who make slaps and get back to that.
Happen.
You know what I'm saying? Job, I thought you hated the South, though.
Oh, well, you know. The thing is the South. The thing difference between New York and the South is funny. Thank you for the segue thing because I was going there next. The difference between the South and New York is tough skin. Like we're aggressive to our own friends. I think one of the third mentioned that on the podcast.
Yeah,
we are aggressive.
Talk shit to our own niggas. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I'll argue with Mason. Me and Dini have gone to war. And then just moved on to the next topic.
It is what it is.
On the wall, like this, we speak New York. Even one time, coach in the group chat was like, "Yo, part of us, like we talk like we from Brooklyn. Like there's a certain level of aggressiveness that comes from New York. So it's like when we get to talking, people get uncomfortable. You know, the South is not like that. You know what I mean? Hit the like button, run the comments up, run the subscriptions up. Keep locking in with us. We appreciate it. 350 likes for each and every video. So see the rap snob. This is I'm gonna blame you though.
What's that?
Because I left Mason's part out of the clip. So Mason's actually absolved. Because Mace, if we would have put Mason in that clip, we probably would have took less heat. Because Mace said that Luda he said, You said Luda had the best verse or he had the second best verse?
Second, yeah.
And you said Nas had the worst verse. That's what you said.
That was my controversy, which completely got erased. Thank you for that, Jeff.
You know what I mean? And that's the ironic part. I didn't want to smoke with the Nas fans on Twitter. So I said, I'm going to leave this part out. You know what I mean? Not knowing that the Luda fans was going to activate. And that's the point we want to get to here. So Sid dismissed the verse as being the best. Dini said, yo, no niggas don't even know the verse bar for bar. Y'all were in y'all full New York bag. And people got highly offended. And I understand that. We prepared for that type of shit on this pod. But what I'm mad about is these same people who are defending Ludacris, when we get to talking about the South, when we say niggas don't appreciate Luda, when we say Luda belong in the top 5 of the South or the top 3 in the South, and I think there was a list where we was talking about the Southern rappers, and we was like, Luda's a little bit too low, and niggas got mad at us because we said Luda was too low. And then when Big Gip, that's a crazy connection. When Big Gip all the dialogue and said that Ludacris don't get the love he deserves in Atlanta because he wanted to befriend New York. All of a sudden, the Southern people, it's like, oh, that's one voice. But the same one voice, when he get to talking about the Jigger Man, he's sanctioned. If he's bashing New York, it's okay. The minute he bashed Ludacris, oh no, it's just one verse. It's just one voice. Y'all niggas don't even talk about Luda like that day to day. And let me make it clear. We're not talking about the whole South because that's what we get in trouble. We're talking to Atlanta. You know what I mean? Specifically Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? When we get to talking about Atlanta rappers, niggas quick to mention Gucci Mane. They'll talk about T.I. They'll talk about who am I forgetting? The Migos and
Jeezy.
They'll talk about 3 Stacks, the Dungeon Family. They'll talk about Jeezy. It's rare that Ludacris be the first 2 or 3 names mentioned. So when y'all get on Twitter defending Ludacris, I gotta call it what it is. Y'all full of shit. Because on your day-to-day, y'all don't call Luda up like that. Ludacris was getting love. How you think Ludacris ended up on a Major League remix in the first place? Because New York was like, oh, this nigga's good. He can sit with us. Put him on with 2 of the greatest spitters.
With 2 spitters.
You thought it was an accident that he ended up on there? Huh? I just want to know. Why do y'all get so funny about niggas to put on your day-to-day operations? Y'all never held them up there. Hov had to tell Ludacris, you were underrated because you're too animated. A lot of niggas in the South was treating Ludacris like he was Busta Rhymes. They was never sanctioning him like that, bro. They was not sanctioning him. We lived through it, bro. The minute the trap shit took off, who was talking about Ludacris in the South? The nigga dropped Release Therapy, and it was crickets.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
At that point, he was known more for the videos than the actual raps, bro. Like we were there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and the thing is that I think Ludacris is stuck in a bad spot. Between a rock and a hard place. Pause. Because you know what I mean. It's like he's too lyrical for the Southern, audience, and then. You know what I mean? Then the Southern cats feel like he's too Southern for New York. And then if we ever have anything, and it's not even like we said anything bad. Like we never said the verse was trash. You know what I mean? We never said we said he held his own. We said and one of us put him above Nas's verse. You know what I mean? That which wasn't in the clip, admittedly. But like again, we never said the verse was trash. We just said that. To us, we never heard. I know I never heard back then that Ludacris had the best verse on the song. Maybe it was the echo chamber of New York. Maybe it was a generational thing. You know what I mean? Because I seen somebody on Twitter say that they remember being like at the school lunch table at the schoolyard arguing about it. And I feel like Mace might have mentioned something about like being in school arguing about it too. Mm-hmm. And by the time that shit came out, like I've been done with school, you know what I mean? So it was like maybe it was a generational thing too, but like to me, my demo, we never heard, Ludacris had, he took that remix, he took that
never.
Song. You know what I mean? That just wasn't a conversation to us. And again, not that it was whack, we just never heard that, and I never thought that. You know what I mean? Jeannie never thought that. John never thought that. So. That's just our truth. You know what I mean? But
no, I told y'all, because my age demographic in Brooklyn, we had Luda up there. That wasn't. I had the conversation about Luda having the best verse. I was surprised that y'all didn't have the conversation.
Nah.
Down in my sector of New York, we was talking about that shit.
Yeah.
Great verse, but just
it was a conversation.
That kid's verse was just too crazy, bro.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Luda, and Jov, you was kind of alluding to it earlier. Luda's almost one of those Southern rappers. There's certain ones, right? Like, I guess in more modern times, like Pusha T and Cole might fall under those. That if you tell a Southern person, oh, I like this rapper, they tell you, oh, you only like them because you from New York. You know what I mean? Like there's certain rappers who Southern people attribute to us, not to us more than them, but almost stylistically, right? Like you like that type of rhyme style, like, oh, you would like a Ludacris over a Bun B because you from the East Coast, but we like shit like this down here. You know what I mean? And that's no disrespect.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I distinctly remember, and I remember this when T.I. came on the scene. Everybody rushed to T.I. because T.I. was more like that southern rap with the draw. You know what I mean? Like everybody gravitated to T.I. and then they started fronting on Luda. You know what I mean?
Right.
Remember
that trap shit? Remember? Man. That trap music was just different. You know what I'm saying?
Well, for them to now 20 years later turn around and be like, oh, y'all fronting on Luda in New York. No, we always champion Luda in New York. You know what I mean?
K-Vision mentioned Little Brother. That's another group from the South that they tell you, oh, you like them because you an East Coaster. You know what I mean?
and that's the shit that be like losing me. And it's like, you know, I see certain niggas. One guy who keeps asking to get on the podcast. I ain't gonna say your name because it's like, you know, you're doing a lot on Twitter. I'm gonna tell you that, like man to man, like you gotta relax. You know what I mean? But then there's Tony the Dome, who's jumping on the train, and he's like, oh, you know what I mean? We didn't hate, we you know what I mean? And nobody on the Rap Roundtable said that the South didn't rock with Ludacris. You said y'all fronted on him, and I guess y'all don't speak New York. When we say y'all fronted, that means that you knew he was good, but you didn't give flowers. That's what fronted on means. The nigga didn't get the flowers that he deserved. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for Tony the Dome to hop on the wave, on the echo chamber on Twitter and misrepresent when you've been on the pod, when you got direct access to Sin, you got direct access to me, you could have hit us up before you go retweeting that shit. Because you know we ain't say that. You know what I'm saying? And we spend too much time on this podcast talking about this whole segment we make fun of Sin because of the niggas that we love from the South. Let's be clear. We don't bash it, but it's like I've noticed something and maybe I'm tripping. It seems like the South hates New York more than Atlanta. Let me stop saying the South. Atlanta hates New York more than New York hates Atlanta, and it shows itself up in unique ways. It's like if we're not saying anything good, if it's not good, all right, you know. But the minute we start telling the truth, oh, there go these New York niggas. Take the microphones away. Y'all mad because y'all city is dead. Y'all don't got nothing popping off. They love saying that. It's New York. There's a lot. We've been around a lot of niggas doing really good for themselves from New York, but because they're not on the internet, you know what I mean? It's a problem. I don't understand. Right. Y'all play victim and be aggressive at the same time in Atlanta. This shit corny to me now.
And we're never gonna say anything right. Like word to Job, because Job just told me that like earlier today or like yesterday. Facts. Like we never to them we're never gonna say anything right because if we give Luda like mad, like super props, mad flowers. You know what I mean? Oh, y'all only fuck with Luda because he spit like a New Yorker. That's gonna be the narrative. You know what I mean? If we don't give Ludacris enough flowers,
y'all hate Atlanta.
Y'all hating on Atlanta. Like why y'all can't get?
We said that Cole was never gonna win. Disqualified from the Big Three and put Future in there, but we hate Atlanta. Shut up. I love Quavo.
Rocks.
Me and fucking Didi at one point was spinning Huncho Jack.
Crazy.
He was like that was the album of the year, low key when that shit first dropped. Like, what are y'all talking about?
Real shit, bro.
Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. Motherfuckers can't handle criticism. They only want compliments. And when we get too loud about the criticism, it's because we from New York and we too this and we too that. Y'all not cut like us, so y'all can't handle it. And who is this Miss Tia Robbins show? Why does she think we're a Drake podcast? I don't understand. Like, who are you? What are you talking? Like,
definitely not a Drake podcast. We'll let you know.
I'm so confused.
Matter of fact,
I can
run off any number of songs where there's a Southern rapper on the same track with a New York rapper, and the Southern rapper took it. I could go off on a whole list.
There you go.
It's just, to me, it made you look. Remix is not one of them. I'm sorry.
Hold on. Then you got this goofball. That's how you know niggas is new here. We've never heard y'all criticize New York artists in a real way. I had a whole meltdown when Jay did the fucking spoken word verse. What are we talking about? At one point, Nas fans was trying to find us because they thought we hated Nas. You can't join this podcast and not go back and watch the old shit and get the typing in the chat like you know what the fuck going on. You sound stupid.
I don't want to get us canceled out here by a certain faction, but listen, to this day, I still don't like Magic 2. I still don't like it.
Bro, they had a whole group chat about the rap roundtable and tried to get out your cancel because you didn't like Magic 2, bro. What are you talking about? When we talk,
we built up the first 4 joints like these are amazing albums. You know what I'm saying? Like, what more?
In trouble for saying that Jadakiss don't got classic albums. We've challenged certain kind of narratives from East Coast rap. We've done it all as a podcast. Inform yourself. We've built relationships with our chat through the arguments we've had with the chat about New York. What do you mean?
We've had all types of conversations on both sides for Cardi B. You know
when we can presume that a few of these East Coast artists are actually seeing what we have to say, we can say anything we want about Atlanta artists thinking that they might not see, right? We still shit on the New York artists, even though they mans just retweeted us, you know what I'm saying? Or his managers just commented, you know what I'm saying? We still keep it real with the New York artists. So.
I just found the clip the other day of Guru getting mad at us for some shit we said on a podcast about some East Coast shit. Like, bro, like, we get in trouble with everybody. It's a rap show. If you thin-skinned or you soft, it's not the show for you. If you prepared to debate with facts, this is the show for you. That's it. You know what I mean? Ariel Smoke, you right. They came to hate watch. It is what it is. But
appreciate
Ludacris got more love. Matter of fact, I'm going to say, let me not OD. Ludacris, as his lyricism, specifically his bars, got more love up north than it did down there. He got treated as a certain kind of artist because of his visuals and shit like that. All right, you gotta go. You know what I mean? It's shit like that.
Too much.
Yeah, she doing a lot. You know what I mean? You gotta go. You know what I'm saying? We're not a Drake show. I don't like. You gotta go. You know what I mean? To come on the internet and lie because you just think New Yorkers are not allowed to say anything because we're not popping. Sorry, newsflash. We're gonna always have something to say. Always.
That's what we do here.
You know what I mean? And now the Magic 2 conversation is happening in the chat. Thanks, Finn.
Shout out to Sid.
Oh, man, here we go again.
The Nas fans about to troll in.
You know what I mean? It is what it is. But let's get to this Benny and 38 Special project. Stabbed and Shot 2. A lot of people were excited about that project, as were we. It's been a dynamic third quarter for the rap roundtable, and we just lost Mace. You know what that means? You know what I mean? Oh, he's back. So I can't talk shit about him. Damn.
Somebody ain't listened to the project.
Facts, right? But it's like the project drops. I went on the internet and I'm seeing a lot of high praise, even in the chat, even in the from our last episode in the comment section. A lot of people are happy with this project. A lot of people are happy with Benny on this project. In fact, Consider Rap Snob. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it, man. Stabbed and Shot 2. You know what I mean? The follow-up to their 2018 project. I think they stepped it up even more so. Not to say Stabbed and Shot 1 was backed by any means. You know what I mean? That was a dope project. But Stabbed and Shot 2, I'm
gonna spin back in a sec. Keep cooking, sir.
To quote the great little brother, you know what I mean? Dope beats and dope rhymes. What more do y'all want? You know what I mean? The features did what they were supposed to do. Producers did what they were supposed to do. 38 and Benny did what they were supposed to do. They understood the assignment. If we're gonna talk about comparisons, I don't know, man. I love Benny, but there's something, no pun intended, but there's something special about 38 Special, man. His voice, his delivery, the punchlines, the pocket. Again, like last week or 2 weeks ago, I think I compared him to the underground, overground Jadakiss, because we know exactly what we're gonna get from him. You know what I mean? And Pusha T is also kind of almost in that same category. We know what we're gonna get from them, but the delivery is so on point. The voice is so dynamic. You know what I mean? That it hits every time, man. And so, I spent a lot of these songs being like, "All right, Benny Cook," but what's Special gonna do? You know what I mean? If Benny went first, I'm like, "All right, Benny Cook," but man, I want to hear Special on this, man. And he did not disappoint in the least. You know what I mean? I could have used a few third verses here and there. You know what I mean? I know it's two guys, and I know the norm today is, you know what I mean? You throw out a project. If it's a collab with two MCs, each one takes a verse per song, and then just move on to the next song. Again, I know I might be asking a lot in 2024, but a little third verse here and there, you know what I mean? Maybe you come back for the third verse and go like, you know, back and forth like Jada and Styles style. That would have I would have liked that a little bit, but other than that, I don't have too many detractments from this. I think even the features, Busta Rhymes, Ransom, damn, there was one other feature I can't remember right now. The only feature, and I don't want to shit on it, but like Dave East, he didn't really excite me too much on his feature. Other than that, man, everybody cooked. Shouts to Bink, he did Jesus Arms. You know, I got to shout out my producers. Shout out to Derringer, did Internal Affairs. Shout to V-Don, he did probably my favorite beat, one of my favorite songs on the joint, Power. My favorite joint overall is Hometown Hero. I love that joint. Shout out to Aesthetic. I think he spells it Aesthetic, Asethic. I'm not familiar with bro, but I'm gonna go on Instagram and Twitter and search for him because I'm about to follow him because he did that and he did High Stakes, which I also dug. It's a dope project, man. Dope project. Definitely fall, October, hoodie, Tim's season weather, and I'm here for it.
For me, I think I want to say I like the project. I want to start it off. You hit the nail for me as far as like my biggest gripe with the project, and it was mostly I want to say, as I'm looking at the list right now, about the first 5 songs. I felt like it was too short in the beginning. Like a lot of those songs felt like they were ending too abruptly for me. And it's like when you have two, and it felt like the rhyming was such at a high level from both artists that it was like y'all getting downhill now. Y'all really rapping, and then the song is done. So it was like the first 5 songs, I want to say, the listen was a little bit jarring because it was like a lot of these, even though these shorter songs, we don't like it, a lot of them flow better in a way that even if it's a 2-minute song, it ends smoothly and it transitions into the next song. I felt like these songs were cut and they weren't like blended properly and flow from track to track. We're just like, all right, we're gonna do 2 verses and lay down, 2 verses laid down, 2 verses laid down, and it was lacking that flow early on. But then once we got to around center stage, I was like, oh, all right, we here now. And then that's when I felt like it's kind of like to use a sports. We haven't used a sports reference all show, but it's kind of like in the first quarter, you're trying to find your rhythm. Then as late first quarter, early second quarter, you start to find your flow and your pace to your game. That's what this project did for me. And from that song all the way through, the flow was great. I'm in lockstep with Sin. Like, but first of all, people were saying Benny rose to the occasion. Benny been back for me since Summertime Butch. Like that was Benny the Butcher. Yeah. So like him performing on this project here, I'm not surprised because he was already back, in my opinion. Whatever he had to do for Def Jam, he did that, and then he found his footing again with Summertime Butch, and he transitioned that footing into, I would say, rising to the occasion, rhyming next to. I think he needed to rhyme next to 38 to really to be sharp. Because again, and we've talked to Rome about this a few times. Some artists know when they get next to certain rappers, they have to bring their energy. Shit, I think Millie's talked about it in an interview when he was talking about King Streets. He was like, when I get on a record with King Streets, I gotta deliver because this guy, I can't just bullshit. I gotta really write my bars because he's really nice. And I think that's a real thing amongst artists who are really nice at rapping. They understand when they rhyming next to certain people, you can't bullshit. That's kind of the reason why to drag J. Cole into it just a quick second. Well, obviously, if you want to see what Cole is made of, get in the ring with some of these guys. Push your pen even further with some of these shoguns over here. But with that said, all the platitudes about Benny aside and how good he performed, 38, I think maybe 38 might be in the peak of his prime right now.
Yeah.
He's at his absolute apex of his rhyming ability. And I think someone in the chat said it was the charisma, and that's what it is for me. Yeah, he's delivering the bars, but it's the setup bars, the voice control, then the delivering of the punch. And I think that's whereas Ransom bars get lost because he don't really deliver it how a 38 would. You don't miss any 38 bar. He's given, and it's like you could critique it and say, oh, he sets up all his punches the same way. I don't give a fuck. Because I want, by the time he set it up, I want to hear the punch. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Even if you know it's coming. There was a couple times I was like, I know it's coming, but then when it hits, it still hits.
Right. Perfect. To me, like I said it a few weeks ago, to me, he's the closest thing we have in this era to a Beanie Siegel, where you have the bars, the charisma, the presence, and the realness about him, that everything he says, you believe. And he got that. And the things he's from New York State. So he's not from New York City. So he got that upstate twang to his voice that just makes his whole thing super unique. I love it. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, Cicero, Jesus Arms. I got annoyed when I heard I felt like Busta Rhymes was out of his depth on this project. I hate to say it. I hated the Busta Rhymes verse here. But he didn't belong there. I'm sorry.
No. Did he like break up with your cousin or something?
I'll get back to you.
Like break her heart or something.
I texted Mace on the side when I heard that. I said, "Yo, Bus making me mad listening to this. I don't want to hear this, B." But I do agree with you about Dave East, and I don't know what's happening with Dave. I don't know if like if he has like new people like dealing with his vocals, but it's like he don't even sound the way he used to sound a few years ago. Like his voice sounds a little more nasally. He don't have the depth it used to have. I don't know if he's telling people to lighten his vocals in the mix. But it sounded weird. The bars, Dave is a spitter. He gonna always have the bars. But the voice sounded a little wonky to me on that right there. But for me, my favorite song, and I threw it in the group chat, was Watch List. I just love the energy of it. You know what it is? I think people was coming to get, some people were expecting superhero drug bars. This is a very vulnerable project from these two guys. Yeah, you got the drug raps. Yeah, you got the coke bars. But these guys were open books when they could have just plugged you to death. Pause. I plug this, I plug that. I got it from this plug and that plug over there, and we sold it over here. These guys.
Yo, where's Shaq when we need him, bro?
I'm not injected for that. I'll take the injection. I don't care. But it's like, but it's like these guys being so open. Coke runs with Ransom, like they would open books and they made it so it's like, yeah, we did this and we did that. But we got feelings too, and we deal with shit too. And I felt like that was a page out of the project with Ransom and Conway, where it's like we are super rhyme spitters, but we have feelings too. And that's kind of what we want from Rome. I asked Rome when we was outside after we did the interview, I said, when we gonna get the love song from Rome? Because I feel like that's the one thing we don't get from Rome is the vulnerability. Yeah. And that's these guys, they have transitioned from superhero drug dealers to former drug dealers who got the bag, and they're now reflecting on their life during the chase to the bag, and I fucking love it. Macito, what you got for us, man?
Excellent breakdown, fellas. I knew this was going to be an album that we all appreciated because we all sent different songs in the group chat. You know what I mean? All of us. I don't think we've done that since like Freddie Gibbs' last album. Dope project. One thing you have to establish Shot as a brand, right? But I have to say, Stabbed and Shot 2, Benny is on a higher level. Special is on a higher level. Sin, you mentioned, and Jav, you as well mentioned like the introspection with them both, but I almost feel like they got the same type of perfect duo balance that like the Clips had, right? That Jada and Styles had, where it's like the Styles, the Malice, the Benny, kind of reflective, kind of wishing like they could change the way things went, and the other dude is just a cold-hearted villain. You know what I mean? The Jada, the Pusha T, the 38 Special. That's the persona that 38 gives off to me, and it's like just a cold-hearted, like I'm about my business, while Benny's the reflective hustler, the one who wish he could have, and I feel like they've built into those personas perfectly. It makes this album work perfectly. There's a lot to say on here. Sen, you mentioned a lot of people. Y'all should know I'm the president of a Harry Fraud fan club. I gotta say Harry Fraud was doing this thing on here. My favorite beats on here were from my boy Harry. Something about 38, because we gotta speak about 38. Benny is gotten a lot of pub, rightfully so. You know what I mean? Still probably the most viable name in that space. But 38, bro, oh man, just the bars. And it's not just the bars, right? You mentioned that, Jaw. You brought back Cole. Let me bring back Drake and Kendrick. You know what? There's something about the theatrics of 38 that's perfect. One thing I remember, if you listen back to the Drake and Kendrick diss tracks now, right? One thing is it sounds like Drake is just rapping, and it sounds like Kendrick is putting on a movie. And 38 encapsulates that perfectly. You know what I mean? The disgust he has what people, even Darren, try to hustle on his block. You know what I mean? You don't think he got the money to pay back the plug? Like everything about the way he talked, the way he rapped, you know what I mean? Just the ad-libs, even like Special's one is one of those, man. He really one of those. And you know, we've gotten into the Romes and the Bennies and the Cons, but Special is just as nice as all of them. And right now, like you say, Joe, he's at the top, he's at the peak of his powers. As far as I didn't like the Busta feature, bro. You know, I didn't, you know, I get Busta is a rapper that a lot of super lyricists grew up on. A Busta feature is a badge of honor for a lot of artists. Nah, man, they could have left that. And it's hard to tell Bust this ain't it. So if you asked him for the verse and he sent this, you kind of got to throw it on there, right? But I wasn't feeling it, bro. I was not. You know what I mean? It just, you know, at this point, Busta needs to be rhyming with like the Eminems to me. And I'm not somebody who thinks Eminem is terrible, you know but it's just like his voice control, his flow, his subject matter. It's not really built to be alongside these type of artists in 2024, if you ask me. The project is dope, bro. Like I can't get mad at this. This is, you know, the type of run that the Over Underground has been on recently. This is, you know, you could kind of say the culmination of it, right? But if I do push back, I gotta push back a little bit, right? Because like I mentioned, Benny and Spesh are at, I think they both at the peak of their powers. If you want, you know what I mean? If you want to be honest, I don't know if I've ever heard Benny rap better as well. But I listen, and I know I might receive some pushback on this because the Over Underground sound is an essential sound, right? But I think it's time for them to get over some different production. You know what I'm saying? I do think that. And while I don't think that means that means they need to step completely away from what has gotten them to this point, right? We always gonna want to hear them over Derringer. We always gonna want to hear them with V-Don, with Alchemist. And they should always be on their projects. But it's like Reasonable Doubt didn't sound like the blueprint. You feel what I'm saying? Even if the raps and the subject matters were similar, sonically, it just was a little bit more, you know, I don't know how to say it specifically, just maybe a little bit more theatrical, dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing wrong. Like, at this point, I feel like Benny and Spesh should be, you know, they should be using the type of connections they've made. You know what I'm saying? Why can't we get, you know, Pete Rock just went crazy with Common. Why couldn't we get a Pete Rock beat on here, right?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because we kind of got some insight from Rome because we got to wrap this pot up.
What's the word?
It's business. Like, we're thinking about the art.
Mm-hmm.
Their business model is, these are the producers that I work with. This is how much they cost. This is what my fan base expects. Because they're not. I don't think Benny and Benny 38, that whole overground space, I don't think they're trying to quote make music to create or expand their reach.
Right.
They have created their fan base, and they have decided these are the people who are going to support us. They're going to buy the vinyls. They're going to buy the merch. They're gonna run up the streams. We're going to keep feeding them. I think when we get into that subgenre argument, this is the part. This is the backdrop of it. Create your fan base, feed them. Fuck reaching more niggas. These are the niggas that fuck with us. We're gonna feed them, and I think that's why they keep giving us this repeatedly. We like artsy shit if we want to level up, but they good.
And to take it a step further, I think part of it, to Mason's point, might be the production style, but it might also be the technical aspect of that. Like, for instance, like, let's say they get all of these same beats, but they're not all 2-track. You know what I mean? Everybody's recording things 2-track. You know what I mean? You just get the beat, you lay the vocals over it, you maybe make some adjustments here and there, and boom, 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 you got a 10-song project, you put it out, you feed your fan base. You know what I mean? You feed the streets. You know what I mean? Like, if they really wanted to take it to another level of like making the production sound fuller, you know what I mean? Breaking the beat down into the individual stems, mixing it more, you know, more dynamically, a la like a Blueprint. You know what I mean? That's going to be more time consuming. It's going to cost more money. You know what I mean? It's going to need more studio time. And you know what I mean? Motherfuckers just want to, let's put this project out, feed the streets.
Straight like that.
That's the era we're in.
And another project we're running out of time, so we really can't sit down and break it down, but y'all should listen to it. Painting Houses 2 by UFO Fev. If you heard part 1, this is almost like a direct sequel to part 1. Similar aesthetic. Fev and Spanish Ran. Spanish Ran is another one of these producers that you got to lock in with it and familiarize yourself with, because Ran is really cooking out here, and he's worked with some of your favorites. So lock in. There's a few tracks that I fuck with. Before June, the joint with Bun B, Dream Like This, Last Mistake with Flies. If you know who UFO Fev is and you're familiar with them, this is another project in a strong discography that you need to lock in with. UFO Fev, Painting Houses 2. Go to find it on your DSPs and lock in with that. But we are at the point where we got to read them super chats and wrap this podcast up. Real quick,
Last Mistake goes crazy.
Last
Mistake really goes crazy. And I love Alone. That might be my favorite beat on the joint. And Dream Like This with Bun B. I was listening to it. I was like, yo, this sounds like Bun B. What the fuck? And I looked down and I'm like, oh shit, it's Bun B with a UFO Fev. That's a crazy flex right there.
You know what I mean? And it's like one thing I learned about Fev got like the slow cook style. So it's like when you listening to him, he sharp. Like the bars, like the first time I listened to him, I'm like, yo, you know, guys be on their charisma shit where they try to word salad you to death. Fev slow cooks you. And then the bars and the pocket work be like, oh, this nigga's fucking nice.
He's nice.
But he don't wear the I'm nice jacket. But you gotta listen and you lock and you be like, oh, this nigga's he's really like that. So tap in with UFO Fev, Painting Houses 2, another New York artist. Again, we are New York's #1 podcast for hip hop, and we listen to the New York shit. But we gotta get to these super chats so we can wrap it up. Shout out to everybody who ran this hour and a half with us and really locked in. We got Raphael Fidelis, another longtime supporter. The only interesting bit about the interview with SZA opening when we just shot a movie last night. Indeed. He runs it back with another one. He explains not like us the phrase, I think. Yeah, and we didn't like that explanation. That was a little political. You
wasn't feeling it.
To our point about him trying to move away, or Sin's point specifically about him trying to move away from that. Ariel Smoke, who's been locking in with us over the past couple of months. OVO makes his calling Dot a pretentious asshole. He was.
Hey, I was.
He was. Deanie pulling back in. We wrapping up though, Dean. There ain't really much else. We just doing the supers right now, bro.
Copy.
Ariel Smoke again says, who said Dot was God? I don't think anybody's ever really went that far. And Dot will tell you he's not your savior. 2-3 says, y'all packed out the same demo that fronted on Luda. ATL used to laugh at NY opinions because niggas irrelevant. Ain't shit fun. That's what we thank you. That's what we saying, bro. Like y'all packed out by the same demo that fronted on Luda. Thank you.
That's true.
Niggas know, bro. They be just lying. Ariel Smoke says always very interesting. Wow. You don't like Drake, huh, Ariel?
Don't fuck with Hawks.
BCG says protect black men and support black women. Facts.
Salute.
Words.
Deanie and Mace opinions on Dot can't be trusted. Also a fact.
Yo, Smoke, you already know what it is. Man.
I'm glad. I like when people figure out what's going on because they really be thinking we dead eyes and they be like, "Oh, watch this show."
What up?
I'm just here to get these jokes off, boy.
You know what I mean? Deuce Falco says everyone knows y'all covered this fairly. That's why we watch. Much love, Deuce Falco.
My God.
Ariel Smoke says Dot won't be on the bigger picture because of Elliot Wilson. Elliot is built like a rat, exposed to wow. Damn,
Ariel,
we got love
for the smoke.
We can't mention that. Smoke. Get your shit off.
Relax, man.
Smoke want all the smoke.
Even if they reunite, they still won't help Aubrey. Aubrey might be toast. I ain't gonna lie. Dark with the super chat says Vato Drizzy is charting at the food trucks. Whoa!
Wow, that's crazy, bro.
That's racist.
Yo,
that's insane, bro.
Humble Bragger with the super chat says case closed by Young Chris and his man is way better. Yo, Humble Bragger, if you got us on Instagram, send a link. Mike H with the super chat. Mike H's family with the emoji. Much
that's
love.
The homie
Mike
right
H
there.
Locking in from day one. This is another illustrious episode of the Rap Roundtable. We'll probably get killed on Twitter again. Shout out to Dead End Hip Hop. They threw the little RT. They threw the retweet for us on Twitter. Much love to Dead End. Appreciate you locking in with us. Or maybe they just like the fact that we was getting jumped since they are Atlanta-based pod. They wanted to get jumped.
That might have been it. That might have been it.
Thank you for the reshare. You know what I mean? Deanie the balance. Take us. Oh, wait, we got one more. Dre got says Buck and Luda stomp tip out. Yeah, we know that. We know that. Yeah. And nobody thought Luda could beat T.I. and he packed him out.
He bodied him.
T.I.P. I was disrespectful.
Deanie
Shout out to the chat, man. Shout out to the whole family. Hit the like button before you get up out of here, man. Show some love. It's free. Get the algorithming. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Jarv. Shout out to Sin. Shout out to Macito. I'm Dean the Balance. You know what we do here. It's the Monday Night Raw. You dig? We out of here. Rap Roundtable family. Peace.